So, where were we? At the party. All right. Actually, you managed to wake up. That's and you even survived this, whatever, half-a-mile walk from the lunch area. I don't know about you, but like 240, this room is like, it couldn't get better. So you made it to the best and last session of Ignite. So thank you so much. And I guess we'll continue. Gate 86, Terminal A. See you there. All right. So now let's get down to business. My name is Ziv Rafalovic. I represent the Azure Compute team. With me, I brought the function master.
Hey everyone, my name is Eamon O'Reilly. I work on the Azure Functions team now.
And together we'll try to walk you through how serverless could help you. Now, when I say how serverless could help you, we at Microsoft see serverless as one of those trends which changes the way people think of software, writing software, maintaining software, extending the process, the application, the services. And one of the areas we've seen early adoption for serverless technologies is with IT, managing your resources, either on-prem, or in our cloud, or even in other clouds. So today, we'll walk you through some of the highlights of what the functions team managed to deliver for Ignite, mainly around PowerShell GA. Who likes PowerShell here? All right, that's your audience. And we'll walk you through some use cases for using this muscle of functions and even PowerShell running function to better manage your IT. Our focus here will be Azure, but you can apply it the same way across on-prem and even other clouds. Eamon?
Perfect. So you saw we're going to go through some of the patterns for event-based automation. But when you think about automation all up, what you're really trying to accomplish is all of the responsibilities you have in your organization, if it's on your infrastructure or your applications, when you deploy those into Azure or even into your on-premises environment, there's really a set of controls that most of us are responsible for when we actually deploy those infrastructure and applications. And when we want to think about automation, you want to think about how do I insert automation into all parts of the lifecycle, because that's the only way that you actually get that robustness and also the throughput that you need these days. And so each one of these, from how you deploy your resources and how you manage them, how you configure them, how you secure, protect, monitor, configure, and then also how do you govern them afterwards. All of those are probably things you are responsible for. Some of them, all of them, and you want to start thinking about, okay, what tools does Microsoft offer to make it easier for me to actually go and perform those tasks in an automated way? And so that's really the goal of this presentation, is to try to think about what are the new capabilities Azure has, how can you get started using them, and how can you start to embed automation into the entire lifecycle that you operate. And again, this is across your infrastructure and your applications. But probably some of you are familiar with Azure Automation. How many here have used Azure Automation in the past? Good, so quite a few. So as you probably know, when we released Azure Automation back in early 2014, it was basically the single purpose automation solution for everything. That was our generic solution, and if you were willing to do all of the kind of coding yourself in PowerShell, you could manage all the deployment of your infrastructure, you could assign policies and rules, you could respond to events, and you could integrate into other systems. And so we had this goal of trying to give an automation platform, and it worked out really well, and a lot of people are continuing to use it. But since 2014, we've started to invest in a lot of other services to try to remove a lot of the work that you had to do to kind of code up all of this automation yourself, and try to embed some native services into Azure that you could start to use to make your lives easier, but also move some of that workload into the service instead of you being responsible for everything. And so if you kind of fast forward 5 years from when the beginning of 2014, you've actually see we have a lot of new services in Azure that you should start to think about when you're doing automation across your environment. And I kind of look at this as like your toolbox. What are the best services to accomplish the best task? And so we think about deployment now. The recommendation we really have over the last few years is to use Azure Resource Manager to kind of define your deployments and leverage that as the capability. And it has a whole set of nice things around. It's idempotent, all the resources are available, it's all very easy to check in and integrate into Azure DevOps. And so that's as you're doing your deployments, we recommend using that service as you go forward. But even as you do respond, how do you actually have an event-based system that can respond to alerts, events that are happening across your application, and your integration. That's one of the reasons we built the Azure Functions integration, so that you could start to take advantage of all the native integration that Functions has and build out your event-based automation across your infrastructure. And then, of course, how do you integrate into all your existing systems? And so if you're not familiar, we have a service called Logic Apps. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today as well. And that allows you to integrate into all your existing systems so that you can actually not just automate your Azure, but if you have approvals or other ITSM systems you're responsible for, you can actually, using the event-based systems we have inside of Azure and the integration of Logic Apps, tie all these things together. So I think Ziv mentioned it first of all. So one of the critical things to kind of enable event-based automation was to really bring the languages that most of you use into the serverless environment. And so that's what we've been working on over the last year, was to bring PowerShell as a first-class citizen into Azure Functions. And then this opens up all the event-based automation that you might be trying to accomplish using other tools today, but now you can natively support it inside of a serverless platform like Azure Functions. And we just announced general availability, so we have the balloons for that on Monday. So if you have, has anyone tried PowerShell and Azure Functions yet? Awesome, I see a few hands. Hopefully after this session you'll be familiar enough, you'll go back and try to understand the patterns you can use and how easy it is to get started with it. But a few things we did when we started to bring PowerShell into Azure Function was just all the learnings that we've had over the years building solutions inside of Microsoft with PowerShell. How could we bring all of that learning into the Functions ecosystem and into the Function service? So first of all, we want to leverage the latest technology that PowerShell has. So we worked very closely with the PowerShell team and got PowerShell Core to work seamlessly inside of Azure Functions. Things you may be familiar with, like profiles in PowerShell, are also supported. So if you have common tasks you want to do, you can put those into a profile file, and they'll get launched automatically as you start up your Function app and you want to run your PowerShell scripts. We have the ability to bring your own modules very seamlessly. So you can just put them into a modules folder, package up all of your automation, upload it, and then all those modules are seamlessly available when you runtime, and they're included into your PowerShell module path. But there's a whole set of other capabilities we built as well that makes it a lot easier to bring all that PowerShell knowledge you have on premises and natively support it inside of Azure. But we've done a few other things as well. So oftentimes it's very difficult to manage your credentials. How do I integrate my other systems? A lot of those challenges you have on premises, we've tried to remove by doing native integration into the other services inside of Azure. One of the ones we're really happy when I started to build out the service was Application Insights is a really powerful service inside of Azure, but typically it was only for developers. It was designed around developers and writing all your application stuff in there. And yes, you could try to use it, but it wasn't generally available for operations teams. But what we did with PowerShell is we mapped all of that logging, all of the great visualizations that Application Insights has, into PowerShell as well. So as you do write warnings and write information, write output, all of that gets captured automatically into Application Insights, so you have all that rich debugging, rich visualizations that you get out of Application Insights. And the last thing I'll mention here, one of the reasons functions become so powerful, you think about event-based automation, is that you want to, when something happens, you want to be able to respond to that event. And there's a really nice programming model that Functions has, which allows you to set up triggers onto these external events. So like maybe someone just created a virtual machine in your environment. You want to get notified of that. Or an alert happened. You want to get notified of that. You don't actually have to write code in order to integrate to those systems. There's built-in integration called triggers inside of Azure Functions that allows you, through configuration, to get notified and also get the content from those services. And then if you need to send that information to somewhere else, you can support what we call bindings. And so again, through configuration, you can send that data onto another system because maybe it needs to get processed in some other way. So all of these are natively supported inside of PowerShell in Azure Functions. But one of the other challenges that we've kind of learned over the last few years is it gets very difficult to manage your modules when you're running the service. And typically it's because you've got version incompatibility or you're behind on versions, you're trying to use commandlets that aren't available, and there's not really a package manager available for you. So what we've introduced with PowerShell and Azure Functions is the ability for you to describe what modules you want in a requirements.psd1 file, and we will go and get those for you in the service and make them available at runtime for your PowerShell scripts. And so that becomes very powerful, not only because you can specify the Azure ones, which we include by default, but anything that's available on the PowerShell gallery, you can include into this requirements.psd1, and we will go get it for you. But it wasn't only that problem we were trying to solve. There was the problem of, as maybe you're familiar with the Azure commands, but every 2 weeks, there's new versions coming out. They may have critical and security fixes in them. So how do we take care of kind of making sure you always have the latest modules, and so you're not vulnerable for some issues that might happen inside the service? So we support basically what we call semantic versioning, where you can put in 1.*. So if you want to, you can put in like 2.*, and then what that will do is guarantee every time a new version is available on the PowerShell gallery for those modules, we will go and get them and make them available for you. If you want to fix to a version like SQL Server, you can put in 2.4.6.8, and you're guaranteed that's there. But depending on your requirements and depending on the vendor module you're using, it's nice to know you can always be secure using the Managed Dependencies feature. OK, so with that, I'm going to hand over to Ziv, and he's going to go through kind of a quick demo, just to get you familiar with the service, how you can use it inside of Azure Functions, and show how it can work not just in the cloud, but also in your local environment as well.
Yeah, all right, thank you. So my challenge, I have an Azure subscription, and I happen to share it with my teammates. And once a month, I'm being kind of asked by my manager, hey, how come you made it to a 5-digit monthly statement? You guys just do demos, right? And yes, because we don't really kind of keep a clean house. And we just spawn new resource groups and new resources and always forget to come back and clean them up. So my goal, and this is kind of the 101, kind of write your first PowerShell function, was to write a function which tags my resource groups with 2 tags. One is the project name, and the other is an expiration date. So if you have not done anything, I will tag the resource group as a project unknown and set an expiration date for 30 days in the future. And then I will iterate those resource groups. And if you care about this resource, you will just change the project name. Otherwise, when the time arrives, this expiration date, I will go and delete the resource group. Right? Sounds easy. Which is really easy script to write. So my starting point is this script, which is nothing more than one file. And this script query for my resource groups, iterate all of my resource groups, ask for the tags. If there is a project tag, I will print it. Otherwise, I will set a project unknown and an expiration date to a time which is 30 days in the future. And then if the expiration date has expired, I will actually go and remove the resource group. Now, for the sake of this demo, I just print out time to delete. OK? So just to show you this works, actually, I'm just going to copy, paste this to a PowerShell. Looks ugly, right? It's not running.
I think you have an extra bracket.
It was actually working. All right. I just ran it from Visual Studio. And the output here is, you can see, it iterates all of my resource groups. And there was a new resource group, so automatically I set a project to be unknown. And December 8th is, I guess, 30 days in the future. OK? So, and by the way, I can switch back to the Azure portal and show you that those tags actually exist in my subscription. Quickly going to resource groups, you will see all of those tags. And folks who actually care about the resources do tag the resources. OK? And by the way, I'm doing this is from a different subscription, so don't kind of. So the first step was to create an empty Azure function app. I just created it. It is empty, trust me. And the only thing I did was to enable managed service identity. With managed service identity, I can authorize my function, just my function, to do a specific, to have a specific role. So I go to Platform Features. I go to Identity. And you can see that I have enabled my function to use managed service identity. Next step is actually to authorize this managed service identity. So I will go to my subscription. Under access control. And I will add a new role assignment. Let's pick, because this one will actually go and delete resources, so I want to do a contributor. And instead of user, I will actually go and pick a function app. And then here's my function. So by doing so, I authorized just this function with a contributor permission, contributor role to my subscription. Next, I will go and build a function app in Visual Studio.
How many of you use VS Code for your PowerShell authoring now? That's good. Kind of the recommended way, as you know, for the last couple of years was to try to move into VS Code. I think once you get familiar with it, you see a lot of the power that VS Code has. And I think what Ziv is going to show is our Azure Functions integration into VS Code. So you can do all of your local development, test everything out before you actually publish it into the service.
OK. I'm creating a new project. And let's call it subscription cleanup. Just hit enter. Oh, select folder. Select the runtime will be PowerShell. The template will be, let's make it a timer. Okay, this function should run once a day. And I will call it now subscription cleanup. The default will be every 5 minutes. That's my timer. VS Code create my new project. And you will see the same function.json, host.json, and requirements.psd1 that Eamon mentioned earlier. My runtime will be this file. And I will just paste my code, my script here. I didn't do anything. I don't really need to do even the connect AZ, so I just comment it out. And from here on, I'm basically done. So before I go and debug it locally, I would like to bring my Azure Function application setting from the cloud to be used locally. One of the reasons this will, one of the benefits is to bring all the settings, like the storage settings or any other settings that I managed to set already on the function app itself. I'll just copy this one. I'm sorry, my mouse gave up. What? No, I didn't copy this one. Whatever. This looks better. No, it's not. All right, we'll skip this for now. Can I still debug? All right, let's give it a try. I hit F5.
Oh, you have it? Well, you can't.
Yeah, I don't.
It's a timer trigger.
Oh, So I do need the setting. Come on. Yeah, who knows? Thank you. That's weird. What?
Your line is too long. CD to a different place. Expand the window horizontally.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we're zooming in. Okay, thank you. I didn't expect this.
Probably noticed I switched over to PowerShell Core because the default there was you're still using 5.1 built into Windows, but obviously we support PowerShell Core inside the console as well.
Live demo, ZVAR. Let's quickly switch back to the application. Live demo ZVAR. All right, good. So it picked several settings, including the subscription, the storage account that I need. And now I try and go and debug it from within VS Code. There's this familiar function.
So the one thing to call out here is that what that's running is the function's runtime is actually open source, and you can run it in your own environment. So the exact same thing that's running locally here runs the same way in the cloud. So you have the ability to actually do all of your development debugging, knowing that after you've done it here, you can push it to the cloud and it'll run the exact same way. And the nice thing, because it's open source, you can also push it into a container, all your automation, and run it inside your local, maybe Kubernetes platform, and take advantage of all the functions programming model and all of its capabilities, or you can push it into Azure Kubernetes servers or directly into Azure Functions as a container. So lots of flexibility in how you do your automation. Ziv is kind of showing you the local development, but because it's open source, it can run anywhere.
Yep. And the last thing before deploying this to the cloud will be to try and invoke it locally. Again, it is a timer function, so I'm just asking the, oh, there it is, already made it. So just continue. And if I just switch back to the function runtime, you see the same information, the same output. So my function just ran from within VS Code as a function. Now, I'll stop this one. And the last step, of course, is just deploy it to Azure. So I just stopped it. And the last step will be from within VS Code, sorry. I just call Azure function, deploy to a function app. I pick my subscription, and I go and pick my function app. And yes, I want to deploy. And within just a few seconds, I'll have this function deployed. And actually, you can look at the output window. So what we've done, we've taken a simple PowerShell script, created a function app, authenticated this function app with managed service identity, then came back to VS Code, created a function project, pasted the script, tested it locally, and now deployed to the cloud. Are we done? Still not done. We can continue, and yeah, we can come back to it. And from there on, every 5 minutes, I'll have this running from Azure.
Awesome. So all the steps that Ziv just did as well, he has in the deck, which makes it really nice. So when you download the deck afterwards, you can actually follow along. There's a really good tutorial up in the Azure Functions docs as well on getting started with PowerShell. I kind of want to go through some of the design patterns that we talked about at the beginning. And I'm going to touch on each one of them as we go forward. So I kind of pulled out two parts of this. One was the deploy and operate, and then how do you do your event-based automation as these actions are happening. So you can see there's a whole set of scenarios that you can do across your applications and your environment. So like maybe when a virtual machine is deleted, you want to maybe remove it from the monitoring system to turn off all the noise you might get. When resource groups are created, maybe look up the cost center automatically and add the cost center onto those resource groups. AD groups, maybe you're deploying SQL servers into Azure and you want to go and give permissions to groups. All of that can be done after the deployment notification happens into Azure Functions. And the one thing to call out is there's some nice integration between Event Grid, Logic Apps, DevOps, as well as Azure Monitor that you can just take advantage of as you build out your automation going forward. So I want to touch on each one of those patterns. There's kind of 5 patterns we want to touch on. And I feel if you learn these 5 patterns, you'll probably be able to do all event-based automation that you need inside your organization. So it's only 5 things you really have to learn, and then everything else is basically built on top of those. And so the first pattern to call out is schedule tasks. So this is probably one of the more common things a lot of us do is, we know something has to happen at night or once a day, so how do I schedule my tasks and be able to do that? So there's a very nice scheduler built into Azure Functions. Unfortunately, you have to learn a new syntax, which is a cron tab expression. But the value of that is it goes all the way down to a per second execution as well. So you're not just at an hour or a minute, you could even get to it per second if you needed to. And it has native support for daylight savings times as well. So you can specify what daylight saving time region you're in by just using this website time zone app setting. But what are some of the common scenarios you do with scheduled tasks? There's probably 50 of them you guys are doing. I just called out 2 or 3 here that seem to be very common when we talk with a lot of customers, which is resource allocation. So stop all those expensive virtual machines at night because they're costing us a fortune. We've actually seen some customers perform this against their dev and test subscriptions. And you can save like 50% of your costs straight away by literally writing maybe 10 or 15 lines of automation. That's kind of the power when you think about what is this automation, how do you embed it into your overall application and your infrastructure. SQL maintenance tasks, another very common one, as well as removing resources that aren't even needed anymore. But with that, let me go into a demo. So remember, scheduled tasks is the first one you want to be familiar with. OK, so I'm going to jump in here and switch over and show you what this looks like inside the portal. OK, so I'm going to zoom in here to one app that we've deployed. So this is my cost function app in PowerShell. And there's a couple of things I want to call out inside of here. There's kind of 3 functions I have. The first one is tagging resources. So anytime a virtual machine gets created in Azure, I can automatically add a tag that says I want to shut this down. And that's what I'm doing with that tag resource. And I'll talk a little bit about how this integration is done later on. The other 2 is how do I start my VM on a timer and then stop my VMs on a timer. So very simple code that's published into the serverless library. So we have a basic community gallery where you can get all this code, and the link is in there. And all it does is it literally scans my environment, all my virtual machines, looking for ones that have this tag associated with it. And if it falls in the right time, then it will go and stop those machines. So again, just a few lines of code here. You can see I'm pulling out all the virtual machines is the first thing I do. Then I just enumerate them with a simple standard for loops, make sure they're running, and then I'll stop it if the time is actually specified in the tag. So that's available up on the serverless library, but just a few lines of code. The other thing to call out here is you probably noticed how fast it ran. So again, a lot of the reasons to do event-based automation is you need it to happen quickly as your resources are changing or you want to perform a task. So nice about Azure Functions, it's very, very quick. So it'll run your automation when you need it to, exactly during those times. So a very simple scheduled task, but there's a whole lot that we can go into. But I want to just kind of show you how easy it is to run it and get started. And the reason it's kind of grayed out here, you may not be able to see the code that well, is we have the ability to kind of package up your app from your local environment and make it available in the portal. And so if you're going through a DevOps lifecycle, that's the recommended path to actually get all of your automation scripts up into Azure DevOps and then published into Azure Functions. But you can also create them manually in the portal and be able to do all the same work if you needed to. OK, so let me switch back. Okay, so first one was scheduled tasks. Very, very powerful. I just touched on it a little bit there. You'll be able to do as many scheduled tasks that you need inside your environment. The second native integration you need to think about is, how do I build my automation that acts to events going on inside my environment? And so one of the recommended services we have in Azure that you may not be familiar with, but it's a really powerful service, allows you to capture all the events that are happening across your Azure resources, and then call another service like Azure Functions. And that service is called Azure Event Grid. Are any of you familiar with this? I'll show a little bit in the demo. But the nice thing about it, it automatically catches resources that are being changed and updated. And so you can just subscribe to that. You don't have to worry about how they're capturing. The service does that, and then you can call your Azure function to process it. So common things you can do with that is, you saw Ziv's demo there where he he wrote a script basically that says, well, if the tag isn't there, then I'm going to go add it. But he had to write that code, and now he has to maintain it. How is it going to change in the future? But you wouldn't have to do that if you got notified when those resources were there. So that's one way where you can just get notified that a new resource group, a new virtual machine, a SQL server, a website has actually gotten created or changed, and you want to subscribe to it. But there's lots of other things you might want to do inside your environment, like grant access when somebody creates a resource group. You might want to send a Teams event if something gets deleted. Or you may even want to forward the VM maintenance notifications so that you can be aware when there's a maintenance going on across Azure. So again, kind of integrate into Event Grid, because that will give you notifications about changes that are happening. So let's do a quick demo of this. Okay, so I have a resource group here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tag to my resource group. And basically the scenario here is, this is what I worked with just a customer maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. They had this standard in their organization where they created resource groups for their different dev teams. And then they could do anything they wanted inside of those resource groups, but they were limited to what they could do. They weren't administrators on the subscription. They could just work inside of those resource groups. But one of the challenges with that is they were constantly getting emailed about adding other people for access, because they're not the owners, the people, they're just contributors or users of it. And so the nice thing that we worked through was we could actually set it up so when the person creating that resource group, if they add a tag called security group and the name of the security group that they want access to, then we can actually get that event and go add that security group out of AD automatically onto that resource group that got created. So it was actually a very simple process, but we just had to work through how to do it. So you just hit save. So this could have been a deployment. Any other way, it doesn't matter. So the nice thing about this is I'm going to show you how Event Grid works now. So here's Event Grid subscriptions. It's just another service in Azure, and it has this nice thing called Azure Subscriptions. So what I've done is I've created a notification through native integration with Azure Functions that every time, hopefully you can see this, let me zoom in a bit. Every time a resource gets created that matches Microsoft Resources subscription/resource groups right, I want to get notified. So I didn't have to write any code, I didn't have to do anything, I just had to configure that I'm interested in that event that's happening in Azure, and I need to do something when that event happens. Someone deleted my SQL server, so maybe I need to go and send a notification, or a VM got created, or a resource group got created, or something got modified. Any event that's going across your Azure resources, you can subscribe to those and then do that work, do that automation that you need to actually complete the scenario. So that was straightforward. And then if I actually go into that group, so here's that little bit of code I wrote. And the nice thing about this was it has some native integration built in. So here's I have Azure add AD groups to resource groups. So I just built this one in the portal. But the nice thing, it has an Event Grid subscription coming in. A couple of other things I want to call out real quick was, if you want to get secrets, our recommended thing is to store them into Key Vault. So here you can see one line command. I have access to those secrets. So I can actually authenticate against Azure AD and be able to pull in that security group's object ID. So again, with very seamless integration into other services to perform your end-to-end tests. And there you can see it actually just ran. So it took that security group. It's already finished. So I just made that change. The function caught it. And if I went back to that resource group, I'll actually see that this security group now has permissions into that. And so whoever's the owner of that resource group can now manage it through that security group. So again, a very kind of powerful solution with only a few lines of code. Okay, let me just make sure I can get through the last couple. So Azure Monitor. So again, this is the third scenario you want to think about when you're doing your automation with event-based, is when something happens to your resources, they often will send an alert. So your CPU is high, your disk's I/O is getting hit. Something's going on with your SQL server. There's native integration across almost all Azure services to integrate with Azure Monitor so that they will actually send notifications to Azure Monitor. And the good thing is there's a mechanism to subscribe to those events using action groups that is part of Azure Monitor. And then action groups can call a function to go process them. Very similar. Instead of tracking resources that are changing using Event Grid, everything that's going on with your application or your infrastructure can also be captured through Azure Monitor and then call us to process that. So lots of scenarios customers are doing this. The good thing is it's not just at the resource level. You can even capture stuff that's going on inside a virtual machine. Okay, so let me go back. So here's one. So there's a scenario I have here where if a service gets stopped, I can automatically go and respond to that. And so I'm going to basically integrate where, say I had a service like my print service, which is what I set up. For any service you might have running inside a virtual machine or even outside, you can get notifications of that. And so I have the ability to stop a service, and then what I'm going to do is integrate it all the way through with Azure Monitor into Azure Logic Apps and be able to show the end-to-end flow. So let me just touch on Azure Monitor real quick, because the next one then brings in the combined end-to-end scenario using Logic Apps. So if you're interested in how to set this up, it's really simple as well. You go to Azure Monitor. You click on Alerts, click on the Manage Alert Rules, and then I'll just type in Ignite to filter my. So I have one here that process has failed. And so this one's tracking any errors that are greater than 0. So let me see if I can find my other one. There it is. So this one, the spooler service. So is anyone using Log Analytics here? So Azure Log Analytics, basically Azure Monitor, you can send all information about inside the virtual machine as well as across all Azure services into the service. And then you can create rules inside of here that actually, when some of these events happen, I want to go process them. And so you can just select your action group, and it will go, and you can see here, restart service with a Logic app, and I could also call an Azure function. So very seamless inside of Azure Monitor. I've set up these alerts again. Okay, so let me go back here. We only have like 4 or 5 minutes, so I'll let you go talk about the HTTP one real quick, and then I'll end on the last one.
All right, so
Might skip the demo, maybe.
yeah, well, the thing here is that with the HTTP, you can actually capture the entire orchestration as a single function. So in this case, actually, our challenge was we have announced Azure Dedicated Host. This is like an isolated offer for customers to run VMs on a single tenant physical server. Now, one of my customers deploys 100 VMs every day, and they don't want to play Tetris and place those VMs on host. They just need the isolation. So what we've done is we wrote this orchestration where basically we go and iterate all of the dedicated hosts and find the best host for the VM. And we offer this to the customer as a function. And the way to do it is, I'll skip the demo, but we package this as a function so that the customer can deploy it in their subscription. And basically, all they say, I want 10 VMs from this size in this region. I need them isolated, and bam, we do the rest. So the trick here is, and we wrote this, by the way, .NET, C#, so capture the entire orchestration as a single function surfaced as a HTTP trigger.
Cool. So that was the fourth one. I know we didn't mention it there, but how do you trigger automation on demand? And so Azure Functions has the ability to expose your Azure function as a HTTP trigger, basically a webhook. So then you can call it from an external system or through your own command lines. And it has native integrations into API management in Azure. So if you actually want to make it a full API that then you could call on demand or you could expose to other people inside your organization, very seamless to do that inside of Azure Functions. So the fifth one is, how do you integrate other systems? So this is where you may have ServiceNow in your organization, or maybe you're just using Teams or GitHub, but those systems are being used to actually track what's going on with your end-to-end automation, or they're being used for approvals. And so Logic Apps has over 300 connectors, allows you to get very seamlessly into these systems, so you don't have to write all the code. And then you can fulfill those requests using Azure Functions. So you can use it as the orchestration and integration system with Logic Apps, and then if you have work you need to do through PowerShell or any other system, it can call into Azure Functions. I'm going to skip over the demo, because we only have a couple of minutes left. But all of these demos I'm trying to make available up to the serverless library. We have about 3 of them up there already. I kind of wrote these for Ignite. I'm hoping to get the other couple up in the next week or so you can go to the serverless library and download them yourself. And that's available from the portal if you create an Azure function. OK, so the last slide, well, 2 slides left, is what are the kind of takeaways inside of here? First of all, when you think about doing automation, you really do need to use a toolbox of services. Because when you start to take advantage of everything we've built inside of Azure, you have less code to maintain, plus you gain all the benefits that's been put into those services, like Azure Resource Manager, Azure Policy for setting policy, blueprints, functions. All of it is native inside the service. And I think Functions really opens up this event-based automation that was very difficult to do in the past because of this native integration into services that are already in Azure. OK, so what are the learnings? I think the main thing to take away about this is, with event-based automation, you can kind of close the gap between all the other automation you might be doing across your environments. And again, if you want to reach back into your on-premises, there's native integration to actually go through hybrid connections or through VNet integration and manage your on-premises resources as well. And we see some customers doing that because maybe they have local Azure AD. They still need to go in there and look up some users so they could add them into Azure resources. So there's lots of scenarios where it goes across your hybrid environments. And the 5 things to take away are these, I would say, 5 patterns. You're probably doing these already if you're doing automation, but if you think about it, most of them probably fall into one of these categories. And we have a lot of native integration built into the Azure services, and in particular Azure Functions, that allows you to integrate all these things together. So with that, I think we're up to 45 minutes.
Yep.
So we'll say thank you. It's the last session of Ignite, and I really appreciate all of you guys coming.